Hello and welcome. I'm Suma Katauka and you're watching the World Report on News 6 Well. Let's take a look at some of the headlines of this hour. US President Donald Trump stated that the US attack on Iran is advancing ahead of schedule, but warned that the conflict could last longer than the initial estimate of about a month. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has stated that military action against Iran could continue for some time, but it won't last years. He has also suggested that this campaign could pave the way for peace between Saudi Arabia and Israel. The Israeli military has reported that it shot down 2 unmanned drones that crossed into Israeli territory from Lebanon, part of rising cross-border tensions tied to the broader Middle East conflict. US President Donald Trump took to Truth Social to criticize former Presidents Obama and Biden's nuclear deal with Iran, claiming it would have led to a nuclear weapon 3 years ago. This comes amid escalating Middle East tensions. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney arrives in Australia to strengthen relations between the two nations as global tensions rise, focusing on defense, trade, and critical minerals. Syrian President Ahmad al-Sharaa held a telephone conversation with Prime Minister of Pakistan Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif on the latest developments in the region, amid the recent escalation as the two sides jointly affirmed their commitment to develop Syrian-Pakistani relations amid heightened tensions in the region. Zimbabwe on Monday began releasing nearly 4,000 inmates who were granted presidential amnesty in a bid to ease overcrowding in prisons. The cabinet announced the amnesty in February on the same day it approved sweeping changes to the constitution as a plan to extend 83-year-old President Emerson Mnangagwa's term till 2030. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, has confirmed that the company is collaborating with the U.S. Department of Defense to update their agreement, ensuring OpenAI services won't be used by intelligence agencies like the NSA. We have a breaking news coming in. A magnitude 6.5 magnitude earthquake has struck southeast of Sinabang, Aceh, Indonesia at 4:56 a.m. GMT today, according to the Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics Agency. The earthquake, with a depth of 13 kilometers, occurred at 61 kilometers southeast of Sinabang in the Indian Ocean. No immediate reports of casualties or major damage have been confirmed. The assessments of the situation are still underway. The region continues to experience seismic activity as part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. Now we move on to World Report. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has denied that the United States would deliberately target civilians following claims from Iran that 168 people died in a strike. Rubio has stated that the U.S. targets missile capabilities, not schools, and confirmed that the Pentagon is investigating this incident. Rubio has also voiced support for toppling Iran's government, but clarified that the objective of the U.S.-Israeli operation is to dismantle Iran's ballistic missile and naval capabilities. He has emphasized that the U.S. had acted preemptively after learning of Israel's plan to strike. Let's listen in.
Well, clearly, the United States would not deliberately target a school. Our objectives are missiles, both the ability to manufacture them and the ability. Well, clearly, the United States would not deliberately target a school. Our objectives are missiles, both the ability to manufacture them and the ability to launch them, and the one-way attract drones. That would be our focus, and that's what we would be focused on. We would have no interest and, frankly, no incentive to target civilian infrastructure. The Iranians are, on the other hand, targeting civilian infrastructure. You guys have seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. They're hitting hotels. They're hitting embassies. They're hitting airports. They're hitting oil infrastructure. Well, it'd be very tragic, but I can't speak to the details behind it because I just don't have it. It would be a tragic outcome if it's happened. I don't have the details as to what led to it. But what is clear is that the United States would not deliberately target a.
Meanwhile, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has defended President Donald Trump's decision to strike Iran, dismissing claims that he broke his promise to avoid endless foreign wars. Vance has stated that Trump's goal is clearly defined to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. He has stressed that Trump will not engage in a prolonged conflict without a clear objective, ensuring the U.S. avoids the issues faced in past wars. Now we welcome back retired Major General Sudhakarji. He is a senior geopolitical and strategic expert, joins us live from Jaipur. Thank you very much, Major General, for joining us again. Good to see you. Thank you. Now, as we are seeing this escalation in the Middle East, what do you think President Trump will use as a reason if this prolongs, and also, the fact that if this prolongs, and also the fact that there are of course more casualties, not just among American troops, but also Israeli troops, also among the other Middle Eastern countries, we are seeing more casualties rise. What do you think he will have to explain to his voters in upcoming elections, in midterms, that why he did what he did?
Nothing. Subha, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for getting me for your show.
Thank you.
It's a travesty of any logic and rationality, I would say. America and Israel in fact has trapped Donald Trump for the second time. And America is in for a very troubled time ahead. It will get drawn into a very long drawn war. Although I heard what Marco Rubio said, that it is not going to be something like endless conflict or something on Netanyahu's lines. And but they are playing with a very dangerous kind of a game, playing with fire. Perhaps they have people who actually are responsible may not have understood Iran in totality. So they will do well to go deeper into the issue and then take the rightful action. It's a civilizational country, more than 5,000 years. And when you talk about the religious radical kind of Islam they have been following, it's a theocratic society. Theocracy has to be understood in entirety. What is the meaning of theocracy? It's a vertical, it's a centralized pillar. Everything is decided by one man on the top, but it has got partial autonomy to the structures, to districts, to counties, to provinces. There are 31 provinces, and each of the provinces are manned by IRGC people, so they haven't understood it completely. So therefore, coming straight to the question, what justification will you give? There is no justification to give. It is a self-created problem. They have been trapped. There is no reason as to why they hit this target. They went in for this. The diplomatic, I call it as a political and the diplomatic blunder. Why I call it as a diplomatic blunder is because on one hand there was a diplomacy going on. The negotiation was in a very advanced stage. Iran had already showed indications. The interlocutors had come public and said that they are very close to the solution. Okay, so under these circumstances, I don't find anything which could have justified the attack, the way 60 seconds the supreme leader and the 40. Not that I'm siding with Iran. Yes. I don't. Siding with Iran means I'm siding with terrorism. No, not at all. But the way there is some method in madness. Even in warfare also there are some sanctities, some principles to be followed. You can't call it as a preemptive strike and then, knock off the center of gravity of any country and bring the country to the knees. Iran is not going to come to the knees. They have not carried out a thorough evaluation of its defense capability, of the strength and stamina and the staying power, the economy, despite the distress. Economic distress has been created by USA and the Western allies by imposing sanctions. So they need to look at the people, wherever they left the country, are they creating another Iraq, another Syria or Libya? So these are the things he cannot justify. It is very difficult for him. There are 6 body bags have already gone within 48 hours or 3 days. First 3 days, 6 bodies. Will Americans be prepared to accept the body bags after the Afghan debacle? I don't think so. He's got much more things to actually settle in the domestic constituency. Back in America, there is an economic debt, huge debt of 168% debt to GDP ratio, $38 trillion debt. There is a issue of Epstein file. There is an issue of ICE killing the innocent civilians of American citizens. There is a problem of illegal immigrants. Host of problems. There are many. There is a gun culture which is killing their own people. The ISIS has infiltrated, penetrated into the system. There are reports of IRGC, same Iran people, Hezbollah, drug trafficking, and host of other things to be settled. On one hand, he says that he needs to look at the Monroe Doctrine, change the name, and telling the world that you please fend for yourself, leave the Atlantic and across Atlantic towards to the Americas. The other hand, he's also promised his constituency not to open any new war. Wasn't that 12-day conflict last year in the month of June good enough a reminder for him that, friend, you're going against your commitment? Why are you starting new war? People in his country are asking him, why are you fighting others' war? What justification will have? Donald Trump simply has no justification. He will actually do well to sit down and introspect and carry out some kind of consultation with like-minded people or people who contradict him. He needs to sit across the table and carry out deliberation before he goes ahead in this offensive. Back to you, Asuma.
Thank you. Thank you, Major General, for sharing that. Please do stay with us as we come back to you. Now, the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was struck by 2 drones early this morning, causing a limited fire and minor material damage. Saudi authorities have confirmed the attack, which occurred in the diplomatic quarter, and reports say more drones were later targeted at the site amid Iran's retaliatory actions following the U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran. While the embassy was empty at the time, black smoke was seen rising over the area. No casualties have been reported. In response, the U.S. Embassy has issued a shelter-in-place notice to American citizens in Riyadh, Jeddah, and Dhahran. President Trump has hinted that the U.S. response to this attack and the deaths of 4 American service members will be revealed soon. Now we welcome back retired Major General Sudhakarji. He's a senior geopolitical and strategic expert. Joins us live from Jaipur. Thank you very much, Major General, for staying with us. Now, how do you analyze the current capability of Iran? As it has some of the missiles, of course, have landed without making damage maybe they intended to, or without striking the target that they wanted to. But we're seeing this difference of some of the missiles have hit the target. It seems like this time it has hit the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. So how do you analyze their capacity?
You see, I give the devil its due. As a soldier, it is unethical, it is unmilitary-like to underestimate any adversary. Why only Iran? So when a campaign starts or any kind of operations are undertaken, before that, such kind of contingencies should have been thought about and be prepared for. And to me, when I say that that attack 3 days back in Iran was without having thought through, they have committed a huge political and a diplomatic blunder. And this shouldn't have been done in this manner in 21st century. And yes, I am also agitated with the 7th October 2023. But behind that agitation, there has to be some method in madness. You cannot write off this way. So therefore, coming straight to the point, what kind of strategy they would be having, Iran would have, I feel the capacity you want to know. You see, the open domain says Iran has got around 3,000 missiles. I tend to differ. I have a different method of calculation. Their missile manufacturing started in the year 1984-85. Okay, with a very limited objective. At that point in time also, they because sanctions had been imposed, indigenously they are trying to produce. They are trying to revise the goal setting, monthly goal setting, and finally it stabilized to producing around 300 missiles in a month, 3,600 missiles in a year. And given those interruptions of Iraq in Iran war 82, 88, and thereafter a couple of that Desert Storm and etc., um, plus this 12 days conflict, which is accounted for, I think, 4,000 all missiles going by the open sources. As per me, I've given them 5,200. Still, the capacity of Iran, as far as the missiles and the drones are concerned, are far too many. People have lost sight of the fact. If Hezbollah alone has got 1 point, before 7th October, Hezbollah had 1.5 lakh of or 150,000 of different kinds of rockets and missiles.
Yes, Major General, I would like to also welcome Mr. Levarko on this. Thank you very much, Major General, for sharing that insight. Mr. Levarko, what's your take? How capable is Iran? Also building on Major General Siddharji's answer, what's your take? Mr. Levarko, are you with us?
Yeah, you have to.
Okay, it seems like we have some connection issue over here with Mr. Levarko. We'll welcome back Mr. Elon Levarko. He's an Israeli journalist, joins us live from Netanya. Thank you very much, Mr. Levarko, for staying with us. Can you hear me?
Can.
Okay, perfect. So what's your take on the current capability of Iran hitting back Israel and also other countries in the region?
Well, their capability is limited. Number one, Israel, and with the help of the United States, are controlling the skies. We have total supremacy over the skyways right over Iran. Now, what Iran lack in airplanes, they have accumulated suicide drones, drone missiles, and this is a new level of warfare that Israel are learning about. So that is a concern. The drones have been sent. Not only that, they have a large array of ballistic missiles, and they are the ones that have been able to get through and cause damage here in places like Beit Shemesh, Beersheba, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and so yeah, they definitely have capabilities. The Americans have taken out pretty much all of their major Navy ships, boats. They took out 11 the other day. So really, they are relying on their ballistic missiles, their surface-to-air missiles, and their drones. That seems to be the major threat. On top of that, they have fighters working from Iraq. Update recently is that the Iranian supported soldiers in Iraq have started to fire. On top of that, just over 36 hours ago, Hezbollah, who are situated in South Lebanon, who are funded by the Iranians, they made an official statement. We have entered the war. So they are not shy about it. They are pounding us up in the north, and this is a big concern. We have rallied up. Firstly, it was 70,000 reservists. That's risen to 100,000. And our defense minister is talking about boots on the ground in Lebanon, that it looks like we're going to have to move in. Why? Because in South Lebanon, the Lebanese army it does not seem that they are strong enough, that they are capable enough to handle the Hezbollah operatives. So instead, it looks like we are preparing for a ground operation there. So that seems to be what the latest, our assessment of what's going on. But Donald Trump, President Trump, has basically made serious threats because of the attacks on American bases, American ships, and he said, you have not seen anything yet. We are going to start, we haven't even started, he said. And we all know now that when Donald Trump makes threats, when he gives his word, he keeps his word. It's a pity for the Iranians. The Iranians didn't learn over 8 months ago during the 12-day war. Well, when asked about who controls Iran, his response was, soon you will see. So according to the American intelligence, they are way ahead of schedule. The Germans and the French are considering, and the British are considering getting involved as well. We saw that the British were attacked on one of their bases in Cyprus. So this is definitely heating up, and it's not going to happen overnight. But on the other hand, it's not going to take forever. Benjamin Netanyahu was saying this is moving fast, it's going to be swift, and it's not going to be a prolonged, long war. We've already taken out the head of the snake, the supreme leader of Iran. So we're sitting back waiting to see as these events unfold.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lavarco, for sharing that insight. Now we have another news. Moving on, in a statement released by U.S. Central Command, the death toll of U.S. military personnel in the ongoing Iran war has been confirmed to have risen to 6 people, up from 4. This includes 2 service members whose remains were recently recovered from a facility struck during Iran's initial attacks in the region. The statement also confirmed that U.S. forces hit over 1,250 targets within the first 48 hours of the conflict. These targets included command centers, ballistic missile sites, Iranian naval ships and submarines, and anti-ship missile sites. The escalation highlights a significant intensification on the conflict, with both sides ramping up military actions across the region. U.S. Central Command continues to prioritize the safety and security of U.S. personnel and assets while actively engaging in ongoing military operations. Now we welcome back retired Major General Sudhakarji. Thank you very much, Major General, for staying with us. You know, as the casualties are rising, unfortunately, if not just among U.S. troops, but also, Israel and also in the Gulf countries, do you think this is escalating and will continue more than, the initial announcement that this was going to be 4 days, then 4 weeks, and now we don't know how long will this prolong to?
Your question, it's a very brilliant question you have asked, Asoma. It takes my mind back to 1969. Henry Kissinger, in one of his monumental books, he had used a very cryptic proverb. He said, the conventional army loses if it doesn't win. The guerrilla wins if it doesn't lose. We have compelled Iranian, not that they were any good, we have compelled this nation state to adopt guerrilla warfare. That is going to be the dangerous turning point in the entire thing. Guerrilla warfare is not going to end so soon, and they already have predominant proxies operating, although they are down, but they are not out. So my only fear is, but thinking good of America and Israel, it's a notable milestone they have undertaken for themselves, for the humanity, I would say. But then they will do well by making sure that some degree of stability in Iran is ensured, or at least it stabilizes and it doesn't give rise to the activities which I have just elucidated. Under the circumstances, when any external attacks or powers are attacking any country, generally the divided society which Iran was in any case gets out, the the passion for nationalism gets ignited generally. Whether it has happened or not, the ground report will reveal. But as per my unofficial, informal inputs coming from my old friends when I was there in Middle East, they indicate that yes, it's holding them tight. So therefore, when you ask that question, how long, what is the capacity? My answer to that is, well, it is anybody's guess, but not less than 3 to 4 months. It may go beyond that, provided they carry out some kind of or very calibrated kind of an approach. When I say calibrated approach, they should ensure that there is minimum collateral damage. Minimum collateral damage. Under the circumstances, you have all the neighbors of Iran which have been attacked. The attack will still continue. Iran, let's not underestimate. I do agree with our co-panelists. While the inventory may have been reduced drastically, yet be mindful of the fact they have got hypersonic missile. How many they have, I don't know. The Fatah 2, which moves at 18,000 kilometers per hour, no radar or surveillance system in the world can either track or detect it or intercept it. Israel doesn't have an interceptor. So they are yet to show that. And Fatah series missile, hypersonic missiles, I am given to understand China also has extended support, the DF-17, which also is based on a hypersonic glide vehicle. Now
Yes.
these are very, very dangerous kind of, weapon platforms. If they have, if
Yes.
Iran has got, that also will indicate as to how long this operation will last.
Yes.
And I'm also told that more than 100,000 kamikaze drones are there. Yesterday I had done the bin counting. I brought it down to 86,000 by accounting for attrition during 12-day conflict last year and this couple of 2-3 days of this year. So I brought it down to 86,000 kamikaze at the rate of, let's say, in one day, if they fire 2 volleys of missiles and the drones, it is not anything less than 200 to 300 in one volley. Anything
Yes.
less than that, the Iron Dome will actually render them ineffective. So if it is 2 of them, 200, 400 missile and kamikaze,
Yes.
missile, my estimate is it's much more than 3,000, what the open domain is saying. My calculation suggested that they have something close to almost about 900,000, which is sounding very ridiculous.
Yes.
The defense production capability also has been rendered ineffective as per our the co-panelist, distinguished co-panelist has just given out.
Yes.
So despite that, they have collaborations with North Korea, they have collaborations with China, they have collaborations with Russia. Don't be surprised. Between 28th January and 31st January, there are 56 aircrafts landed from China. So why did those aircraft? What are they carrying? They definitely carried something. What are they? We need to look out for these kind of things. Anything is possible. Therefore, it will be fair on part of a military leader or military mind not to underestimate the capability of the Iran. Otherwise,
Yes.
they may step
Major
into
General.
the minefield, which will be disastrous.
Thank you very much, Major General, for sharing that. We have a breaking news coming in from Riyadh. The United States Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, has confirmed it was attacked and urged American citizens to stay away from the facility. In a statement, the embassy has warned all U.S. nationals to shelter in place and avoid the area until further notice. The attack comes amid heightened tensions in the region, and the embassy will remain closed on Tuesday as authorities assess the situation. The U.S. government has not yet provided further details on the nature of the attack or the extent of the damage. U.S. officials are closely monitoring the security situation and will update the public as more information becomes available. Now we move on. President Donald Trump has taken to social media to slam Democrats who have criticized the U.S.-Israeli airstrikes against Iran. Trump has claimed that the left's complaints were motivated simply because he was the one to authorize the attack. And he said that Democrats would have called for action if he hadn't, stating they would be screaming, "Why didn't Trump attack Iran?" The president has also insisted that the United States is stronger than ever and that whatever action he takes, Democrats will always be on the opposite side. Now we welcome Mr. Elon Levarko. He's an Israeli journalist, joins us live from Netanya. Thank you very much, Mr. Levarko, for staying with us. Now, looking at U.S., President Trump say, what do you think? You know, I've earlier asked a Major General about this, but what do you think would Trump use to justify his actions moving forward? And do you think U.S. and Israel are on the same page in terms of strategy about Iran?
100% absolutely, yes. Based on the communications, based on what we're seeing in the social media between Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu calling each other regularly, they're on the same page. This has obviously, it's come out that this has been planned for a long time. While we've been in the waiting game the last 2 to 3 months, we've been seeing mass amount of ships, airplanes massing around the Gulf here, and people are waiting, wondering whether Trump's going to pull the trigger or not. What has come out is that this was planned some time ago, and so that is all down to the military intelligence. So they are on the same wavelength. I think the other concern about where this war is going, notice how the large proportion of missiles that the Iranians have fired have not been at Israel. They have actually been attacking other Muslim nations in the region. Why is that? And number one, there are American military interests and bases in these nations, but on other people's analysis, it's because Iran are trying to make this from a regional war. They are trying to globalize this. They're trying to make this look like this is larger than just Iran, Israel, and America war. They are hoping to make effects with the oil prices, for example, which are going sky high. Now, what's going to happen? You're going to get people like the Democrats in the United States. They're going to start to point the finger. They're going to start to attack Donald Trump. This is going to bring more division inside of the United States. And where there's division, there's cracks in the wall and weaknesses. The same here in Israel. We're going to get attacks by people who are against the government. And then you're going to get other nations and there's concerns that China may not put up with not only the higher prices, but the lack of oil. They get a lot of their oil from this region, from the Iranians. So this is strategizing by attacking these Muslim nations. Personally, I think it's backfired against them. These Muslim nations like Qatar, they were an ally of, by proxy and by shadow, they were an ally of Iran, and now they are strongly turning against the Iranian regime. So I think this is a backfired strategy of the Iranians. But certainly when it comes to America, Israel, they are on the same wavelength. Incredible cooperation between these nations. And like I said before, maybe other nations are going to join in this coalition. We will see.
Thank you very much, Mr. Levarko, for joining us and sharing that insight throughout our news. Now we have a breaking news coming in from Israel. Israel's military has said that it has launched simultaneously airstrikes against military targets in both Tehran, Iran, and Beirut, Lebanon. As the Middle East war widens and intensifies, the Israel Defense Forces have announced the operation early Tuesday, saying these are targeted strikes on strategic Iranian regime objectives as well as Hezbollah militant positions around Lebanon's capital. This comes amid ongoing hostilities between Israel and the United States and Iran-backed forces across the region, with casualties reported in Iran and Lebanon alike and evacuation orders issued for civilians in affected areas. The conflict has spread beyond its original flashpoint, drawing in multiple allied and proxy groups and signals a further escalation of the broader Middle East crisis. Now we move on to U.S. A U.S. federal appeals court has rejected President Donald Trump's request to delay legal proceedings over tariff refunds, allowing the case to move forward in lower courts. This comes after the Supreme Court struck down Trump's global tariffs last month, opening the door for companies to sue for refunds. Trump's tariff had generated over $130 billion in revenue for the U.S. government, and now a legal battle ensues over refunds for companies like FedEx and Costco. The court's decision to lift the stay on refund litigation signals the beginning of a complicated legal fight for repayments. Trump, however, continues to criticize the ruling on social media. That's all we have time for. Keep watching News 6 World for more news updates from around the world.